But even if every single person quit eating beef, we would still need the same number of cattle because every single part of the cow is used when it goes to slaughter. Okay, that's because it goes into things like wood laminates and tires on cars.
Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan, the YouTube channel that is not hosted by a sociopath, a narcissist, or a grifter. So I want to give big thanks to one of our longtime viewers, Graven. Thanks for referring me to this TikTok video. I've never heard of this person before. Sarah Phelan? Is it supposed to be like Sarah Palin, but Phelan? Anyway, I never heard of this person before. I had Angie do a little research for me on who this person's social media background is, and apparently she's some kind of meat industry advocate and influencer. Makes a bunch of videos and is some advocate for the meat industry, as you'll see here. Anyway, I don't know where the meat industry keeps finding these people that think they're so clever and so smart and so logical. They think they've debunked veganism, and they have the most flimsiest of reasons and a complete lack of understanding of what veganism is here. And let's just jump right in here. This person really thinks that vegans don't exist. Like, I'm invisible. She's erasing me from the world. Let's learn why veganism doesn't exist.
It's National Beef Month, so let's talk about my favorite phrase, vegans don't exist.
I mean, I've never seen an influencer being so excited about National Beef Month, spreading awareness of it. Like, really, since you're an influencer for the beef industry, how much money do they pay you to do this stuff? Like, what does it cost to, like, pay someone to spread nonsense and misinformation and repeat propaganda from the beef industry? Is it a lucrative career?
Now, a lot of people have gotten mad at me when I say that because they feel like I am telling them the choices that they have to make regarding their diet. And I'm not doing that. I don't like it when people tell me what to do, so I'm certainly not going to tell you what to do.
Well, thanks so much for not telling me what I have to do. I had no idea I was under any obligation to follow the direct orders of an influencer who is paid a salary from the beef industry. Thank goodness.
If you don't want to consume animal products, that's on you. I mean, and it's your health problems later down the road. You know, beef is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on our planet.
Total propaganda there. These health problems down the road. Exactly, Sarah Phelan. When will these health problems kick in? Let me give you a little background. I'm 55 years old. Most Americans my age are on multiple medications. They have health problems. And guess what? Most of them aren't vegan. So let me know, when will this happen? After 1 or 2 years being vegan, since meat's so important, maybe 5 years? It should happen, right? Well, been vegan now 12 and a half years, Sarah Phelan. I'll give you a link up there to my blood tests that I've been releasing the entire time. I've had this YouTube channel since 2013. Full transparency. I'm not hiding them. Like, let's look at Sarah Phelan's blood test. Are you sharing yours with your large following? I bet not. Anyway, check mine out and you'll see that she's full of crap. But then I'm just an anecdotal story. I don't rely on anecdotal stories like meat influencers do. I rely on the expertise, opinions of health professionals. People have looked at the research in these areas of nutrition, and they're in general scientific consensus that a well-planned vegan diet is nutritionally adequate for all people, despite what Sarah Phelan thinks.
And it's your health problems later down the road. You know, beef is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on our planet.
I was going to chuckle when I see these grifter influencers try to tout their diet or their food as the most nutrient-dense food in the world. Like, is that even necessary? I've never seen a health organization say that it's absolutely necessary that you must eat the most nutrient-dense foods in the world or else you'll be deficient. But let's see what she's saying here. She's like being an alarmist, making it sound like if you're not eating beef and meat, you're missing out because those are the most nutritionally dense foods in the world. Let's just see if she's even remotely correct about this. There's article after article if you just do a little searching online for the most nutrient-dense foods in the world, and it's quite obvious to anyone who reads it that us plant eaters aren't missing out. Well, when I first saw this here, I saw number 1, ooh, salmon. Maybe she's onto something. Maybe vegans are screwed. But number 2, kale. Well, I guess we're cool. I eat lots of kale. Seaweed, occasional pleasure. Garlic. Yeah, vegans eat garlic. Shellfish, the bivalves. I prefer not to eat them. Maybe if I was stranded on a desert island, I'd consider it. Yeah, potatoes. Some I eat almost every day. Okay, finally, we got one of her precious meats here and another fish. But here we go. More plants. Back to blueberries. And finally, another animal product and a plant here, cacao. So given the fact that the majority of these top nutritionally dense foods are actually plants, you can see she's spreading misinformation. She's lying here.
But I'm not going to tell you that you have to eat it.
Like, why would you even say that? Like, why would anyone have to eat meat, especially if they were told by you? Like, what are you, like some kind of dictator or something? But yes, I'm very glad to hear that you're not telling people that they have to eat meat per your instructions and orders.
Now, when I say vegans don't exist, it's because they don't.
So what we saw so far was just her warming up. Now we're getting into the complete full-blown nonsense part of her video, how vegans don't exist. Yes, bring it on, Sarah Phelan.
Because a vegan is somebody who does not eat animal products, so no meat, no dairy, no animal fats, nothing like that.
Well, she's off to a decent start so far trying to describe or define what veganism is, but what she said really doesn't capture the essence of veganism, and she's really describing more of a plant-based diet here, not the ethical component of veganism. As we'll see in a moment here, she has no idea what veganism really is.
But it is also somebody who doesn't use animal byproducts in the rest of their products in society, right? So you see all kinds of like vegan makeups now and vegan shampoos and things like that. And even if you're using all of those products, you are still not a vegan, okay?
Oh, really? Please tell me how a person who consumes no animal products for ethical reasons, who also uses a vegan shampoo like I do, tell me how that shampoo, even though every ingredient there is certified vegan, how I'm still not vegan because there's animal stuff in there?
There are animal byproducts in pretty much everything, okay? I've made lots of videos about this, down to the sheetrock in buildings.
See how she's moving on to a whole nother thing here. She just said all these certified vegan products that us vegans support are not vegan. And what is her example? Instead of discussing the shampoos and beauty products that she brought up a second ago, she's going to drywall and sheetrock, which is not, she's changing the subject completely here. And I have to hand it to her, I wasn't aware that drywall wasn't vegan. Looked it up. Yeah, it says right here there's probably some animal products in it. But what she's implying there is all drywall contains animal products. It's impossible without the use of dead animal bits to produce drywall, and that's not true. I'm reading this article by a very non-vegan company about cruelty-free home renovation, and they say right here, drywall on your home is likely a toxic mix of all this gypsum, starch, paper pulp, as well as some acids used to thicken the mix, and these two acids can be plant-based but are more likely derived from animal fat. And here's the big problem. Since ingredient labeling isn't required by the drywall industry, it can be complicated and time-consuming to find out how it's sourced. But the bottom line is, if drywall manufacturers weren't so greedy or lazy, they could use plant-based acids to produce drywall. So no, we don't need to kill cows to produce drywall to build houses for vegans. I mean, these sort of gotcha arguments from anti-vegans are so disingenuous. Her argument reminds me of the one that Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying about vegans, how we're hypocrites because we live in houses that are built of wood, which once housed animals.
Meanwhile, the house is made of wood from 50 trees with floorboards and 2x4s and structural members, and a tree is home to birds and insects and fungus and squirrels.
So the common problem that both Sarah Phelan and Neil deGrasse Tyson have is that they're anti-vegans who have absolutely no idea what veganism means, yet they found it's their job to invent some bizarre custom definition of veganism out of their own fantasies and define it in such a way that it's impossible for any human to ever follow. It just can't be done. I mean, why are you guys doing this? Do you understand that the definition of veganism has been around for over 70 years? Let's take a look at the most updated definition from the Vegan Society. This is the definition that goes back to the 1940s. It's a philosophy and way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as possible and practicable, all forms of cruelty and exploitation to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. And let me point out what most of these anti-vegans miss, is the cruelty and exploitation part. That's what vegans are against. That's why I went vegan, because I'm against animal cruelty and exploitation. I wasn't thinking about what might or might not be living in the tree that was cut down 100 years ago when this house was built. And in Sarah Phelan's case, yeah, as far as possible and practicable. If you can't find a vegan drywall, but your house needs to have the drywall repaired, what are you supposed to do, Sarah Phelan? Just say, hey, I'm going to be homeless? Hell no. Nothing about the definition of veganism says that you have to forego fixing your home and live outside in the wilderness forever because you have to adhere to this insanely strict and impossible perfection definition of veganism that Sarah Phelan invented in 2023.
I'm sitting in my parents' house, so, this leather couch.
Your parents' leather couch? I mean, that's a ridiculous example. I can understand understand if a person, a vegan, might find it next to impossible to determine if the drywall they're trying to purchase at their home superstore has any animal acids in it or not. I got that as far as possible and practicable. But a leather couch, on the other hand, you do understand that it's really super easy to go shopping and purchase a couch that was not made out of cow hides, and it's probably going to save you a lot of money too. So your example here of the leather couch doesn't make any sense.
Okay, down to any product with an LCD screen, okay? Phones, computers, smartwatches, tablets, televisions, anything like that has cattle cholesterol binding the screen.
First of all, let's run with her idea here. Let's say she's completely correct and every last LCD screen ever made in the history of computer making and screen making has some animal bits in there. Let's say she's right about that, and she's not totally right about that, but let's run with this idea, because according to her strict definition of veganism, vegans cannot participate in the modern digital era. We can't watch TV, we can't own phones and computers. So what does that mean? I mean, those are modern tools of the workplace and just to make a living. Like myself, for instance, how would I make a living if I didn't have access to all my computers and screens and cameras and music gear? I would be without a job. Again, she's asking me to not have a home. I'd be homeless. According to Sarah Phalen's definition of veganism, veganism is so strict it requires me to just give up my home. I need to just live outside. And even then I'd probably cause some harm somehow, consuming the products that I stumble upon on my limited means being homeless. But you see what I'm saying? It's as far as possible and practicable. Veganism doesn't ask you to give up your livelihood and throw your family out in the street because of some ideal of perfection that you believe in. That's only Sarah's fantasy. So anyway, I wanted to fact check her assertion that it's necessary to use dead animal bits to produce LCD screens. So I found this mobile phone industry website, and they say, it cannot be said with absolute confidence that LCDs do not contain animal products in their components or as part of the production processes. However, the amounts of animal trace products are likely to be very small. In the absence of alternatives that are absolutely confirmed as vegan, most vegans will continue using LCD screens. In this way, LCDs can be stated to be vegan friendly. But really what we want to know, is it absolutely necessary to use animal products to produce LCDs? And it says there is some debate on the issue of cholesterol in LCDs and whether it contains animal products or is synthetic, which means it can be produced without the use of animal products. It's not necessary to kill animals. And the problem is, once again, the reluctance of major manufacturers to release statements on the matter does little to clear up any confusion. So it turns out, after all, it is not absolutely necessary to use animal products in the production of LCD screens. But either way, that's a moot point, because it's not possible or practicable for vegans or non-vegans in today's modern digital era to operate, function, and earn a living without using computers.
Considering you are watching a video on either a phone, computer, or other smart device, you need the cattle industry to have that device. So that is why I say vegans don't exist.
Nope, you're completely lying there, Sarah, repeating meat industry propaganda. As I clearly showed here, there are ways to make a synthetic form of that cholesterol that goes into LCD screens. So nope.
But even if every single person quit eating beef, we would still need the same number of cattle, because every single part of the cow is used when it goes to slaughter. Okay, that's because it goes into things like wood laminates and tires on cars. And
there you go again, Sarah, saying that we need the meat industry to make the world a better place. In this case, for the tires that go onto our cars. And yes, a lot of us don't have a choice. Again, as far as possible and practicable. But if you search around, there are brands that have lines of vegan tires, and Michelin has committed to have their entire line of tires all have no animal products. They're completely vegan friendly, vegan source of tires. So take that, Sarah, and your animal products that are necessary to make the world a better place for us all.
So even if we don't eat meat at all, we still need the cattle industry.
No, Sarah, your cattle industry talking points aren't working out here as far as fact checking go. All these products you mentioned that we need to kill animals for, we wouldn't be able to drive cars or have computer screens or TVs or cell phones or have drywall for our houses. We need to kill cows for that. Every one of those products I showed, there is a way to produce it not involving killing animals. It's just a matter of manufacturers having the desire to want to switch to a newer, better way of producing things, and it seems like it's slowly happening. So if you can't find a vegan alternative for these guys, don't worry. Remember, the definition of veganism doesn't demand or require perfection. Do as best you can as far as possible and practical. Remember, in no circumstances does veganism ask you to like give up your life or your livelihood or your home and go live out in the streets for some perfect ideal belief that only anti-vegans have. So anyway, guys, leave your question, comments down below. Let me know if you saw this video. What do you think about these anti-vegans consistently defining veganism in their own personal way that no vegan could ever follow? Yeah, of course veganism has been debunked when you define it in such a way. So leave your thoughts about that down below. Hit like, share this video. Until remember next time, doesn't suck being vegan.